Hello students, welcome to a lesson through the virtual training center of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher, and in this lockdown period, since we are not able to go to school, children, we will be doing many lessons here online through the virtual class. So come on, let's proceed to our lesson for today.
Bought a very interesting and informative lesson for you in English, and the lesson is going to be about great leaders of our country. Okay, now in this particular picture you can see images of very great leaders of our country who fought for the freedom of our country and also who helped us to break away from the slavery that we were under, either under the British or under the French, etc. Okay, so some of these leaders here, we can identify them immediately, and some others we know a little less about them. Okay, but the most famous of national leaders, as we talk about leaders today, is the bigger face that you can see here, that is the face of Mahatma Gandhi ji. Alright, along with Mahatma Gandhi ji, we can also see Subhash Chandra Bose ji, we can see Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, okay, we can see Dr. Rajendra Prasad, we can see Dr. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, we can see Jawaharlal Nehru ji here, Lokmanya Tilak. So see, there are so many people, not only these people whom you can see here in the picture, but there are many other hundreds and thousands of people who have sacrificed their lives and who have given up a lot for the freedom of this country. Alright, we cannot study about all of them together now in these 15-minute time that we have got. So we will learn about a few of these leaders, and most importantly we will talk about the most famous, or we can say the greatest leaders of the world, and that was Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, we will also towards the end of the lesson talk about some other leaders also, but today's lesson will be about Mahatma Gandhi. Now, he was not called the greatest leaders of the world for nothing. Now, Mahatma Gandhi helped us to fight against the British in a very unique way. Now, whenever you talk about people fighting for freedom, we always hear about people going to war, using bombs, isn't it? But Mahatma Gandhi gave us this freedom in a very different and unique way. Now children, whenever there is a national festival, like for example we have the Republic Day, we have the Independence Day, we proudly hoist our national flag and we pin the flag to our dresses, and we are so proud to carry a flag around, isn't it? This was not possible before freedom was achieved. Alright, so all these leaders that you can see on your screen, you can see Mahatma Gandhi, you can see Subhash Chandra Bose ji, you can see Rani Lakshmi Bai. All these people were instrumental, they were responsible for us so proudly celebrating our independence today. When we proudly carry our flag around, we should say thank you to all these great leaders of our country. Okay? Now let's talk about Mahatma Gandhi, because this lesson is totally dedicated to Mahatma Gandhi. Now Mahatma Gandhi said a very, very important thing. He believed in non-violence. That is, what is the meaning of non-violence? Non-violence means not using any kind of force. Non-violence means peace. Okay? So he said there is no path to peace. Peace is the path. So he said whatever you want to achieve, whatever things you want to get in life, you should always use peace. You should always use non-violence. You should never go in for or resort to violence. You should never hurt someone. Now violence doesn't mean only physical violence, but you should also not mentally try to trouble someone. Okay, so Gandhiji believed in the path of peace, and he said that peace is the path. There is no way in which you can reach peace, but peace is the way to everything else. And he did not use any arms or any weapons like guns or rifles or bombs, but yet he won independence for India from the British people. And that is why we call him as the father of the nation. Mahatma Gandhi ji, we call him as the father of the nation. We also lovingly call him Bapu ji, or we call him Bapu. Now Bapu or Bapuji means father. Okay. Now the most important thing that he taught us was the principle of non-violence. That is, not using force, not using physical strength or mental aggression against anyone. That was what Mahatma Gandhi taught us. Now since he was a small child, when he used to go to school, he had learnt many important values. Okay, that is, he had learnt about integrity, he had learnt about honesty, about truthfulness, and about discipline. So Mahatma Gandhi had very high values in his life. Okay, he believed in many good things like honesty, discipline. Okay, and he was also a man of iron will. Now iron will means what? He had a very strong willpower that when he decided that he will do something, he used to definitely do it. For example, he decided once that he will do his morning prayers every day. He thought that he will get up, and every morning he will get up early in the morning and he will say his prayers. After that, children, from that day onwards, the day he decided that he would do his prayers every day, from that day onwards, he never missed his morning prayer, whatever happened. But Mahatma Gandhi used to always do his morning prayers. Every day, he would get up early in the morning just to say his prayers. So that was what Gandhiji's willpower was. Okay, now many of us, we decide to get up early in the morning and say prayers. Some of us decide that we will get up every day in the morning, we will sit to study, isn't it? But we do that just for 1 or 2 days, and then we give up, and then we sleep, and then we feel jane do, we will study later. But Mahatma Gandhi was not like that. He was a man of iron will. So whatever he decided, he would do it. Alright? Now there was one more thing about Mahatma Gandhi which was very, very important. That is, he believed in non-violence, we saw. Okay? He also believed in truth, we saw. The third thing that he believed in was simplicity. He was a very simple person as far as his food, as far as his habits was concerned. Now Gandhiji's dress was also very, very simple. Look at the clothes that he has worn. He's worn a chappal in his leg, okay, on his feet, and he has worn a kind of a dhoti, we call it, alright, or we call it a loin cloth also. And he used to cover his upper body sometimes with a shawl when it used to get cold. So Gandhiji's clothes were also very simple. He used to believe in the idea of simple living but high thinking. He used to feel that you should not be fashionable or you should not be very hi-fi as far as your clothes were concerned. You should be very, very hi-fi when you are thinking. Okay, so you should have rich thoughts and not rich habits. That was his belief. Alright, now why did he do this? Why did Gandhiji wear such simple clothes like a loin cloth and a shawl? There was a story behind this. Let us see what the story was. So once Gandhiji happened to go to Odisha. Now Odisha is the new name for Orissa. There's a state called Orissa and it is now called Odisha. So Gandhiji was on a tour of Odisha. That is, he went from village to village in Odisha to see and meet the people and talk to them about how they should contribute for the freedom struggle of India. Okay. Now when he was going around that place, he realized that the people there were very, very poor. And they were so poor that the women did not have decent clothes to wear in order to cover their body. And that is why they used to never go out anywhere. Alright? They would never go for a meeting, or they would never go out and listen to others. What was the reason? That these people, they did not have clothes to wear. Now men can wear a dhoti and roam around, but women have to cover their bodies. Well, that is why these poor women, they would never ever attend any public function. So when Gandhiji inquired, when Gandhiji asked around, he understood the reason and he felt very bad. He was very deeply pained because of that. And he said that when people in my country do not have simple clothes to wear, how can I wear a suit and a boot and roam around? So he said, I will not do this. So whether it is hot, whether it is cold, I will always be simple as far as my dress is concerned. And from that day onwards, children, Mahatma Gandhi always wore this kind of a dhoti, and sometimes he covered himself with a shawl. Now that doesn't mean that when he used to go outside the country, when he was in India, he used to be simply dressed. No, when he would go outside the country as well, Mahatma Gandhi would still be simple in his dressing. Okay, so no matter what the people around him wore, okay, they might be wearing suits, they might be wearing boots, they might be wearing a hat, but if you observe Mahatma Gandhiji in these pictures, you will see that he still wore his dhoti and he covered himself with a shawl. Now he must have covered himself in this shawl because he had gone to England and there it is cold, okay, but you can still see that he has not worn a suit or he has not worn a coat or nothing like that. He was still wearing his dhoti and his shawl. So this is how great this person was, and that is why we call him the father of our nation. Now when he went to England, he had to attend a very important conference, okay, the round table conference. So you can see Mahatma Gandhiji sitting here. Alright, now these are all old pictures, children. That time there were no cameras which could capture color photos. So you have all these black and white photos. So you can see Mahatma Gandhi sitting here still in his dhoti and his shawl. Whereas look at the other people around him, all of them have worn suits, but it did not make any difference to Gandhiji. He still wore his dhoti and he wore his shawl. Even when he went to meet the king, so on his visit to England, Gandhiji went to meet King George V at Buckingham Palace. Okay, it was such a big palace and the king was dressed so richly, but Mahatma Gandhi still wore his dhoti. And when people asked him and when people joked about him, he said that the king had worn enough clothes for both of them. Okay, he was not bothered what the king is wearing or what the other people was wearing. He had a very strong willpower. He had an iron will, like we discussed, isn't it? So this was a story, or this is a story of how Mahatma Gandhi's life was very, very simple. Okay, and he believed in simple living and high thinking. Now Mahatma Gandhi also organized many protests. Okay, he organized many movements of the people in order to achieve freedom. Alright, and the satyagrahas, Dandi March, non-cooperation movement, all these big things you will learn about when you grow a little bit bigger. But remember, he protested peacefully so that India gets its freedom from the British people, and because of this protest many a times he was also thrown into jail. So Gandhiji had to spend a lot of time in jail too because of these struggles that he did for freedom. But that did not bother him, and that did not his willpower. He was of an iron will. He was a man with an iron will. So he did not give up, and finally the British had to leave India. Okay, so you can see the British sitting in their ship and leaving our country and going. And that is how he is remembered for his greatness, not only in India but also in different parts of the world. They say that there was never a leader like Mahatma Gandhi who taught the people or who taught the world how the power of peace is and what the power of non-violence is. So children, this was the beautiful and this was a very, you can say, inspiring story of the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, or Bapu as we call him. Now there are certain small exercises which are there in your book. Let us look at them quickly before we wind up the lesson for today. So see, let us look at the meaning of some words. So a man of iron will. Who was a man of iron will? Now in this case it was Mahatma Gandhi who was a man of iron will. So who is a man of iron will? A person with very, very strong willpower. Willpower means we say drid nishchay in Hindi. Okay, a person who makes a decision and who sticks to his decision. That is called a man of iron will. Let us look at the next word now. Loin cloth. So what is the meaning of loin cloth? Now you must have seen these, you can say, characters. We have grown up watching these characters. Tarzan. Have you seen the Tarzan movies? Okay. Or have you seen movies and serials about Mowgli? So see, these people, they never wore too many clothes. Okay, they just wore clothes enough to cover their bodies. So this clothes which you can see, the cloth which they have worn, okay, is called as an loin cloth, just to cover their body. And Gandhiji also used to wear a loin cloth of this kind, which we call as dhoti. And then the next meaning is non-violence. So what is non-violence, children? Non-violence means peace. Okay, so these are some phrases in the book that we have to find meanings of. There is one more exercise in the book. Let us look at that now before we move ahead. So from the passage you have to find bigger words that include the words given here. So there is this word loving. Now this word loving is part of a bigger word in this particular lesson. So let us see which word it is. So it is lovingly. There is this word lovingly in your textbook, and this word loving is part of that word. Alright. The next word is fashion. So there is a bigger word, fashionable, which includes the word fashion. Then you have women. Okay. So there is a bigger word, women folk. Women folk means aurtein. Alright. Women means aurtein, and women folk also means a lot of women together. And great, you have greatness. Okay, children. So these are some exercises from your textbook that we saw now. Now there is a small homework or assignment that I am going to give you. So you have to gather information about great men and women of our country. Now 2 examples are already there in the textbook for you. So there is an example of Lokmanya Tilak, who said that Swaraj is my birthright and I will have it. Okay. Now Tilak was born before, you could say, Mahatma Gandhi's times. Tilak existed, and Tilak also taught us a lot about freedom and lot about fighting for our freedom, struggle for our freedom, etc. Okay. So he spent all his life in the service of the nation. And then you have this particular also image in your book. It is Savitribai Phule. So today you can see that I am teaching you, I am a woman teaching you, isn't it? And there are many girls also learning now, looking at this video. All this has been possible because of this woman, Savitribai Phule. Alright, children. So you have to find out more information about these people, collect pictures. You can draw, you can collect pictures, you can cut newspapers, and you can collect those pictures and articles about these people. So that is a small assignment for you.
So children, wasn't that a wonderful video? And did you enjoy watching it? So if you want to watch more such videos in future, then please like this video and also subscribe to our channel, the MCGM Portal for Education, and also hit the bell button so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video here. Thank you so much for now. Let's meet again soon.